Hi everyone, my name is Hope, and today we're going to be talking about all the books I've read so far this year. So the first book I've read was Love's Executioner by Irvin Yalom. I think that's how you say his name, but it's basically a short story collection. He's a psychologist or a therapist, and it's basically what happened in his life and the story of his patients, and a lot of those were really interesting. I think I didn't like maybe one of them, but I really enjoy this one and I read it really fast. And okay, so let's go on to the next one. I'm reading from my phone. The second one was If on a Winter's Night a Traveler by Italo Calvino. It's so nice. This book, I really liked it. I think I would give it like 3.5, maybe 4 stars. It was really nice. If you like books, it's basically about two readers. It's a love story of them just getting these books, but they're not finished. So they want to finish these stories. They just start reading one story and it stops in the middle or when it gets very interesting. So they want to find out what happens, so they're looking for that story, and then they encounter another story which is completely different, but also it stops in the middle. So that's basically kind of what happens in this book, and it's really good. And the next one was Sexing the Cherry by Jeanette Winterson. I really love this one. I think I would give this one a 5 stars. So I have this really beat up copy of it. The edges are kind of, darker from, staying, and it's kind of, you have this child that was just kind of running around this book with a pen and, doing this to it. But so it's a story of a woman and her son, and it is basically a play with language in the best way possible. You have these stories, in the beginning you have a pineapple, and that means that this is a story of, I think, her maybe. Yes, and then you have a banana. That means the sun story, or maybe it's different. But then you also have this the story of 12 dancing princesses that goes around, but in a really feminist way. You're reading these stories, and then these women were supposed to get married to these 12 princes, but they decided, they married them, and then they did something to them, or it's very wonderful how she combined these myths with this story. I really enjoyed it. There's some really beautiful lines, and okay, so I'm gonna read you one. I fell in love once. If love be that cruelty which takes us straight to the gates of paradise, only to remind us they're closed forever. So she is very disappointed in love because she is this really big woman. She's not pretty and she knows it, but she's really kind of strong, and I really like this one. Okay, so the next one was Normal People by Sally Rooney. So Sally Rooney wrote this book. It's her second book. I read it first because there was a lot of hype about this book, so I decided just to get on it and read it, and I really did enjoy this book. I do not agree that it's the best book ever. A lot of people are saying this is the best book they've ever read or whatever. That's fine, that's their opinion. It's just, I really love the way it was written, but just kind of, I don't see that it's, the best thing ever. Okay, so the next one, so the next 3 I'm gonna leave on the screen, and it's just Serbian books, and I'm gonna, leave the stars for them. Some of them I enjoyed, some of them I didn't. Okay, so the next one was Adele by Leila Slimani. I think it's how you say it. I really like this book. I like the way it was written, or I read the translated version. I do not have copies of some of these books because they're at home. I just, you know, brought them back, just kept some of them because I just wanted to give some of them to my sister, like this one. But yeah, it was basically about a woman who doesn't know how to stay married. She wants to cheat on her husband, so that's what we're looking through this book. We're just like kind of going through her affairs, and it's very interesting, her mind and, you know, the way it's written. I just didn't like the end, but other than that, I just really enjoyed it. The next one was Blindness by Jose Saramago. I really enjoy this one. So this one I read in January, and it shook me when, you know, it was basically when the corona was starting, and in this world there is this blindness that is just spreading around, so you can get it without knowing how. You just stop being able to see, you get blind, and so you're just blind, and these people get closed up in some kind of a hospital, but they, you know, cannot see, and there's like this military that's taking care of them, and there's a lot of things that happen, and, you know, how people deal with that kind of pandemic, I guess, that is happening. So it was very scary. Then I read The Foreign Legion by Clarice Lispector. I heard a lot of good things about her, and unfortunately I really didn't like this one. It was just some short stories that I enjoyed, but mostly I just, you know, didn't really. The next one was Killing Commendatory by Haruki Murakami. I have this copy of it. It's very long, but I really enjoyed it. Next one that I've read was The Dialogue of Two Snails by Federico Garcia Lorca, which is basically just some poetry. I did like one poem. It was very meaningful, but other ones, I don't know, not so much. Not my type of deal, I think. The next book I read was Conversation with Friends by Sally Rooney, and I really enjoyed this one. This one hit all the marks that I like. Basically just super intellectual people who were unlikable, and there's a lot of writing involved, so I just really like that one. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite books, but it's good. I think it's on par with Normal People. So I would recommend. A lot of people did not like that one because of all of the unlikable characters. I did not like the end that much, but other than that, I was fine. The next one that I read was Bonjour Tristesse by François Sagan. I think that's how you say it. Love that one. It was one of my favorite books. I love the way François was writing. It's just so poetic, so wonderful. It just made me want to reread it immediately, and I'm definitely gonna reread it over the summer because it just feels like that. I also watched the movie, and I like the movie as well. It's just so wonderful. I made my sister read it, so the copy is with her. I read A Certain Smile by the same author. It was in the same, you know, book. They're very short. They're like novellas. Enjoy that one as well. It was good. Like the Bonjour Tristesse a bit better, but. And then I read Orlando by Virginia Woolf, and I wanted to love it so much. I just really wanted to love it, but I didn't. I just didn't. The story was going on, and I feel like I just didn't understand it. Just, I don't know. I didn't like it. Oh my god. But like, The Room of One's Own was my favorite book last year. Maybe one of my favorite books, but this one I just didn't like that much. Then I read Circe by okay, I didn't like explain what any of these books are so far. So Conversation with Friends is about basically 4 people kind of two couples. This is like a lesbian couple and a straight couple, and some kind of cheating happens, and you have to kind of follow the characters and their thoughts, and all of them are super intellectual, just going on about like writing and I don't know, class, and it's kind of interesting. The Dialogue of Two Snails, as I said, was just a poetry collection. Bonjour Tristesse is about a girl and her father and his girlfriend, and they go onto a vacation together, and just shit ensues then. The father brings another woman there, and the girl is not very happy about that. So that's basically what the beginning of the book and what happens. A Certain Smile is about a girl and an older man and their relationship, and he has a wife. Orlando, I wouldn't even know how to explain it. It's just like, you know, I don't want to explain it because I don't think that I understood everything about this book. Circe by Madeline Miller is about Circe. She is one of the gods. She's an immortal, and it's basically following her life. We're seeing her story because in mythology we don't really see the story of her. We just see Odysseus and then how he interacts with her, so that's kind of an interesting part. I liked the beginning a lot. The ending, like the second part of the book, was not that strong for me, but the beginning was really good when she was misunderstood, living with her family, and I just expected a bit more from her. It was kind of she was just very, I don't know, like, not that independent. She was really codependent with a lot of men. A lot of men were revolving around her. She was trying, a lot of people are saying how it's feminist, and I do see points of that, but I was expecting a bit more from it. I just didn't expect her to be so codependent on her son, just not letting him, I don't know, live or whatever. The next one I read was a thriller. It's called The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I enjoyed this one. I like the way it was written a lot because you're reading it and you're thinking, you know, what's happening, but then, you know, something happens and you figure out the whole story, and it was really interesting. It was about a woman who was in love with a man who was actually an asshole, basically was just treating her very badly, so she managed to get away from him, but now he has another girl, and it seems that the woman who was with him just wants to get back with him, but does she? Okay, so next one I read was The Ballad of the Sad Cafe by Carson McCullers. I do have that book here. Looks like this. I got it from the library. I still didn't manage to bring it back because of the corona. This was a short story collection, and it made me just in love with the way Carson McCullers writes. I like The Ballad of the Sad Cafe the most out of all the stories, and it's the longest one. But it was just wonderful, and I have Heart is a Lonely Hunter. I already had that book, but I just decided to go on with this, and I just fell in love with it, so I definitely want to read Heart is a Lonely Hunter. I loved her writing style, like her and the girl who wrote Bonjour Tristesse, I can't remember, but the two of them, just amazing. I love them. We have the next one, which is this is The Story of a Happy Marriage by Ann Patchett. This is a reread for me. It is, again, a short story collection. She writes about writing, her marriage, failed marriage, her bookstore. I just really liked these stories. I revisited them, and it was really nice. I just love Ann Patchett and the way she writes, so this was a good back into this. Also from the library, I took it the first time from the library and I just enjoyed it. So I just wanted to go back into it and read some short stories since I'm trying to write short stories as well. The next one was The Best American Short Stories by T.C. Boyle. He's the author of Harder They Come. This is how it looks. Also from the library, I just went there and I took 3 collections of short stories. These ones I enjoyed. Some of them I enjoyed more than others, and that's all that I really have to say. I would recommend just picking up a copy of these, The Best American Short Stories. It doesn't have, this is the 2015 year. It's just nice. You get to read a lot of different people you wouldn't have otherwise. I really enjoyed one of the ones in the beginning. Maybe it was really good, about 2 lesbians. Really liked these stories, some of them, but just I would recommend reading short stories. I just wanted to read as much as I could because I did want to start writing short stories, so I just wanted to see what I could do with the genre. I just wanted to, you know, with a form, what other people are writing, what kind of a short story can be, you know. So that was fun. Then I read American Gods by Neil Gaiman, which is this. It's a plot about a guy who comes from jail. He got into jail, and before he's getting out, his wife dies in an accident with his best friend, and it turns out she was cheating with his best friend. He just really wanted to get back. In the beginning, you just figure, you're just reading about this guy who really wants to get back to his wife. He wants to live this normal life. And then while he's going back, this guy starts talking to him and he wants him to work for him. And he is one of the gods. And that's basically the beginning of the story. I really enjoyed the first, I don't know, like half of it, maybe a bit more. And then I think like last 200 pages, I was just like slogging through it. It was just repeating itself to no end. I don't know. I think I'm like the only one who just didn't really love this book that much. But at the end, I was just like, meh, it was too long for me. It could have been shorter. It was interesting at some points. I see that Neil Gaiman could write a good book, but this one was one of my first, you know, Neil Gaiman's, and I was not that impressed. I don't know. Next one was Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. This is a Serbian copy of it. This is how it looks. It is about a mother and a daughter that come into Shaker Heights, and they start, the mother is an artist, and I just really loved her, really loved the way she was writing. She was talking about her art and what we were reading about that. And there is a family, a really rich family, that is very dysfunctional. So they're kind of trying to coexist in this small town that is not very acceptable of people. And the mother from that rich family she has a lot of prejudices, and there's a lot of drama in this small town. And again, I really liked this book. The beginning was really good. The end is the only part that I didn't like. Just like, it's what happens with all of these books. I loved all of these, like, short burning of the story was just wonderful. And then the end was like, eh. Yeah. I don't know. I would give it 3 stars just because of that. Then I read The Outsiders, and I just loved that book. It was great. It was awesome. If you didn't read The Outsiders, it's just really nice. I couldn't believe it was written. It's not that I couldn't believe, it was just that I was really, really happy that it was written by a girl. She wrote these guys when she was really young, their perspective so well. I don't know, I just really like that. It's basically about a gang of guys that are trying to live, and rich people rich gang is kind of bothering them, so they're trying to survive through all of that, and it's just really wonderful. Some of those lines were just wonderful. It was really good. If you didn't read it, but I'm sure a lot of people did, I'm like one of the only ones that didn't, but I did now. Then I read The Paper Girls. It is some kind of a comic. I just had the first issue. It was nice. It was fine. It's about girls who deliver like magazines, newspaper. So it was fine. The next one was Drive Your Plow by Olga Tokarczuk. That's not the whole name, but I do have a Serbian copy, so I cannot really read it, and if I open it in the beginning, I'm gonna get like a Polish version. I think she's Polish. And this book was amazing. The writing was just wonderful. I really like this one. It is about a woman who really likes astrology, and she's living on this kind of a mountainy part of the city, and people start dying, and she is fighting for the rights of animals, and she believes that those animals are killing those humans, and she goes to the police and she talks to people, and she's saying how all of these animals are killing those people because they did bad things to them, and it's very interesting to read about it. Like, her thoughts about life and everything is just super interesting. I love the way Olga wrote this. I also have Flights by her, which I'm gonna be reading, but yeah, I just really enjoy this one. The next one I read was Call Me By Your Name. It's by Andre Aciman, and this book really reminded me of one person, and it was really sad. It was great. The writing was really nice. I just loved it because I really love this movie, and I have the movie edition. So if you like the movie, I would recommend reading the book because you get more, just kind of more thoughts, and more, I think, even more scenes. So that's just really nice, and there's some wonderful lines. I highlighted a lot of these. It was just really nice. What I would have settled for was not his friendship, not anything, just to look up and find him there. Suntan lotion, straw hat, red bathing suit, lemonade. To look up and find you there, Oliver. For the day will come soon enough when I'll look up and you'll no longer be there. It's such a nice, sad story about love. And I just lived for this. It was amazing. It was really good. I loved it. So one of the ones that I really loved. Next one is Tender as the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This one is the last one, I swear. This one, I love the writing. I really enjoyed F. Scott Fitzgerald's writing. I love this copy as well. It is kind of ruined. I don't know if you can see the spine. It's kind of ruined, but the book, I think it could have been shorter, honestly. There were a lot of things that were just happening for no reason, but really enjoy the story, and I really want to read more by him. I just really do. So I have this book. I don't know if I've read it this year or last year. I don't have it on my list, but maybe I did. But it is Miranda July, first Batman. Really loved it. Loved the writing. Again, it was super weird. I would just recommend. So I did not talk about some of these books, the plot, what the plot is, but I think it's already too long. I don't want to bore you guys, so that's it for me. See you next time. Bye.